Alright everyone, the other day I made a video, of course, about the Teamsters. The union refused to endorse a candidate in the presidential election again, I believe for the first time in 40 years. That's because an internal poll showed that most Teamsters supported Donald Trump. In fact, it was a significant majority. The leadership clearly would like to endorse Kamala Harris. Now, though, there's a little bit of a civil war within its leadership. The former Teamsters boss, Hoffa, of course, said that the Teamsters union should have endorsed Kamala Harris, calling them basically cowards and stuff like that for not doing so. I'll tell you why this happened. Again, as yesterday, let me explain. If all of the union members want Trump, it doesn't really matter if the higher-ups want Harris. If they endorse her and they ignore the polling that they themselves released, they'd be in a world of shit. People would leave the union. Union members might picket. They might protest. It would be a big problem. I can guarantee if you're a member of a union, you're a blue-collar worker, you do plumbing, you do electrical work, line work, whatever the fuck you have in trucking or something like that, you're presumptively a member of a union. Why the hell would you want to vote for somebody who wants to raise your taxes when you can get the guy that wants to lower them so that you pay less money to the government and you have less regulatory burden on the industry that you're part of? This is the symbol of union bosses being corrupt individuals that are no longer in line with the working class that they pretend to represent. The fact is that in some states, you have no choice in certain lines of work but to join a union, effectively, unless you are completely self-employed. Then you get hit with the self-employment penalty, just like me. Isn't that wonderful? They literally disincentivize people for working for themselves. There are plenty of talented people out there. They don't have some fancy schmancy degree. Neither do I, by the way. They go and they literally clean people's toilets for a living. Some of them are more talented than people with master's degrees. I've met some of these people. The working class is fucking great. That's where the action is really at. And if you want to party down, of course, yeah, the working class tends to do it best. It's funny to watch the Teamsters attack the Teamsters on two different levels. It's almost like the Battle of Five Armies from The Hobbit. I hate to bring out maybe a cringy, nerdy example, but it seems almost like the Battle of Five Armies or something like that. It's not entirely clear whose side everyone's going to be on. It's funny to watch. I feel sorry for the Teamsters members for having to suffer through this, by the way. Your leadership is not representing you. I've brought this up before. The concept of a union in and of itself is perfectly fine. We have collectivized. We demand certain rights within the business context. We want a certain wage. The business can say yay or nay. They can negotiate whatever the hell happens. It happens. That's perfectly fine. And if we're unfulfilled by the result of that negotiation, we can go on strike or something like that. But it should be voluntary, and this is example A of exactly why that should be the case. The union bosses party hardy with the corporate leaders. They make 6, maybe even 7 figures. It depends on the size of the union. Supposedly to negotiate with them, to talk to the business and get what the workers want. But that doesn't really happen now, does it? Like there's still a Boeing strike. I think that's still ongoing right now as we speak. The unions simply don't represent the people that they're supposed to represent. Well, that's a real big problem because that's the only reason that they're being paid. They're quite literally not doing their job. Meanwhile, the union worker, he's busting ass 50 hours a fucking week fixing plumbing or doing carpentry or something like that, making ironware. They bust ass. The union boss sits there and sips his vodka and does absolutely goddamn nothing. That's the problem that I have with unions. Properly run, they make sense. The problem is that they're not properly run now, are they? As we see with the Teamsters. And this is a big-time union. This isn't some, like, local syndicate, with 100 members or something like that. They happen to have one lawyer that they part-time and it talks to the local factories or something like that. We're talking about the Teamsters here. This is a big union. And they're not representing their workers because the workers want Trump. And then you have the former Teamsters president saying, well, you should have endorsed Kamala Harris. This election is too important not to endorse. Again, apparently Hoffa doesn't understand anything about political strategy. Your workers want one person, you clearly want the other. What are you supposed to do? Well, I decided we're not going to endorse anyone this election cycle. Now, we're just going to sit this one out. Again, for the first time, I believe, in 4 decades. It's because they have no other choice. What they should have done is simply democratize it, because isn't that kind of the point of a fucking union? Democratize it. Say, okay, 56% of our workers want Donald Trump. Well, we have no choice but to endorse him. It's what they should have done. But it would be a problem. Because, of course, they don't support Donald Trump now, do they? Probably they were shocked at that polling, too. I think that the Democrats right now, based on this, I think they're sweating nervously. Because they're looking at it and saying, oh shit, this looks a lot more like 2016 than 2020. The Union Dems have flocked to Donald Trump because they realize the economic situation is bullshit. And Kamala Harris is a psychopath who wants to raise their taxes on a massive level, hyper-regulate their businesses, and drive them ultimately into unemployment. Well, we don't want that. The other guy, they've told me he's a fascist and a Nazi and he's retarded and all this shit. But he didn't raise my taxes now, did he? And then they scratch their heads. And the Democrats think that blue-collar workers are fucking retarded. They think they're dumb. Bunch of hillbillies. You're the person that they call in to cater them food, to fix their toilet. I would think that requires intelligence, by the way. You're the one that built their outbuilding or whatever. And they think that they're retarded. They think they're stupid. No, they're not. No, they're some of the most intelligent people that you'll ever meet, actually. Blue-collar workers are great. And, those jobs, it's a necessity. Rich people have toilet problems, too. Rich people need the electrical system to work. Rich people need, the landscaping done and all of this other shit. So the union workers, they get shit on by the Democrats, generally speaking, except during election season. During election season, it's, oh, you lovely union workers. We love you so much. We want what's best for you. But then you have the union not even fucking representing them. And a union that's, involuntary for some people, if I remember correctly with the Teamsters. Some people are forced to be in a union. Again, the great example is New York cab driving. Cab drivers do a good job, by the way. Get a cab medallion in New York City and see how many years it takes you to pay off the total if you don't join the union. You could probably make a fake cab medallion, I suppose, if you really wanted to, but that's probably a felony in New York City, for all I know. Now, archived link in the description. Yeah, it's the Teamsters versus the Teamsters. Very, very interesting. That's about all. Peace out.